So there's something I want to talk about that I realized within the new Kingdom Hearts 3 trailer, and I've watched a couple analysis, although I haven't seen anyone actually bring this up. I brought it up a little bit in my last video from yesterday. However, of course, I wanted to speak about this a little bit more in detail because this does give me some pretty dope ideas as to what's actually going to happen within Kingdom Hearts 3 with Ventus and of course Vanitas. So as you guys know, when we first saw Vanitas again within the Monsters Inc. trailer earlier this year, we know that Vanitas had actually called Ventus an insignificant speck. Now, this seems to be something that's this is polarizing as hell. Let me just put it like that. This is polarizing as hell. So, as we know, Vanitas was stated by Tetsuya Nomura to actually be reborn. He's reborn. He's not a character that was taken from the past like the rest of the characters. He's actually 100% reborn in this time frame. Now, when we first saw that trailer, we got the trailer only in Japanese, and because of that fact, I realized something that is actually done within a lot of Japanese media, in which of course Vanitas had this like double voice effect, and this double voice effect is to where he would have this one clear vocal sample, of course, which would be when he calls him an insignificant speck, and then there would be one that's more so said in a more so kind of aggressive slurred way, in which it sounds like he's like growling, and of course he has like he's fucking foaming at the mouth.
Vanitas!
Ventus. そんなところに隠れていたとはな。俺の心の斬新。
and type shit and type shit. But when it comes to that, you know, it made me think about like other characters that I've seen do this in other Japanese media. One character I always bring up when I think about this is Eren from Attack on Titan, when he actually used that ability and stuff at the end of the first season, in which of course he defeated Annie and of course got her to actually seal herself away in the diamond. We know that right before he actually used that extra boost of power, that he was speaking in this exact same kind of way, in which he sounded like he was a fucking psychopath. And we got that same thing with Vanitas. But then we have the new trailer in which he's talking about, what am I gonna do with you, brother? And I've talked about this before. I talked about this when we got the very first Big Hero 6 trailer. Why is he not wearing the black coat? We see everyone else, no one else has actually taken their black coat off. That don't mean they won't, but no one else has. So why isn't he wearing his? And it kind of made me think to myself, could there be two different Vanitases? Stick with me here. Could there be two different Vanitases? So we know that the Vanitas that we see within the Monsters Inc. trailer was reborn. He wasn't brought back from time. This Vanitas could potentially be a Vanitas who used time travel to come here. And let me explain why. When we know that, of course, time travel and how it works is that every Xehanort can use time travel. However, the only way or the only points that they can go to is points in which young Xehanort is at. Because of the fact that young Xehanort is the holder of the time travel power, he is essentially the portal, Master Xehanort. Tetsuya Nomura actually confirmed this in an interview back when Dream Drop Distance first released. Young Xehanort is actually the portal for time travel. So this means that characters can't just, you know, time travel whenever the hell they want, even though just because they're a Xehanort. Young Xehanort actually possesses the power, so he's the portal, and they have to come through young Xehanort. And with that being the case, of course, if Vanitas is actually a Xehanort already, then of course, could it potentially be possible that another Vanitas actually used young Xehanort as a portal and came here, in which of course we see what's going on, because in the novels, and I always bring this up when we talk about Vanitas, in the novels, Vanitas could actually feel exactly what Ventus could feel. He was jealous of him, and because of that, of course, that's pretty much the kind of explanation the novel gave to why Vanitas was the way he was, in which he hated, of course, Ventus for, and of course Terra and Aqua for apparently no reason. He always just seemed like he was envious of them, to the point that he wanted to kill the other two, and then of course merge with Ventus. But he says here in this trailer, what am I going to do with you, brother? And we also see later on within this trailer that he's then of course has his Keyblade hanging over Aqua, in the same way as we saw within of course Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep, Dream Drop Distance, Birth by Sleep. he's holding his Keyblade over her chest in the same exact way. So could this be, of course, two different Vanitases? I would love to actually see it. It would kind of be cool because a lot of people have been wanting Vanitas to be one of the characters that becomes one of the Guardians. Do I think that's likely? Probably not. But a lot of people want it to be the case. A lot of people do. And who knows, maybe what he's doing is trying to merge with Aqua because, of course, potentially, we did hear him say in Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep that Aqua and himself would actually be able to create the Keyblade. He says he would keep her around as a spare, just in case, Ventus got broken, or just in case Ventus couldn't survive his trip. The first time they fought, he said he'll keep her around as a spare. So with that being the case, of course, now that Ventus has been asleep for so long, and of course Vanitas is already here, maybe he feels a little restless about the whole situation and he just wants to merge with someone now. That's what he wants. Vanitas is obsessed with merging with Ventus. He is. Like, it doesn't even have to be shown through his character. You can tell he's obsessed with it. And the reason why he's obsessed with it is because he doesn't feel whole without Ventus, or without another person actually making up the difference within his heart. And I think that that's because he has these negative emotions and stuff, and that's all he essentially can feel, which is another reason why people are believing that the Aqua that we see within the Kingdom Hearts 3 trailer is potentially a situation very similar to with Vanitas. Now, whether or not you want to believe that or not, it's up to you personally, but of course, I mean, when you think about it, it would be easy for them to extract Aqua's darkness, because I've been saying this for the fucking longest. A master shouldn't be able to get corrupted by Master Xehanort. Plain and simple, because becoming a master means you can control the balance of light and darkness within your heart. This is why Ericus failed Terra. It's like no one understands this. That's why he failed Terra, because when he was having this fight with Aqua, he used the darkness, and then Ericus could obviously see that he wasn't trying to use it. That's why he suppressed it again. It leaked out because of the fact that of what Xehanort was doing to him. Xehanort was influencing him, so it wasn't his own fault. However, when it comes to, being a master, that's why Ericus failed Terra. And that's what I don't understand about, like, when people think that a master should be able to be affected by the darkness in the way, like, we know of Aqua's situation, yeah, but by the end of the story, she had already decided that, well, let me get off this tangent. I'll go on forever. Anyways, but when it comes to this, I do believe that we could potentially be looking at a case in which there's two Vanitases. One of them, like, he's even wearing the black coat later on in the not later on in the trailer, in the fucking first Big Hero 6 trailer. So why is he not wearing it now? That's the big question I have, Don't mind me going crazy. But let me know what you guys think about it. Another cool thing I wanted to talk about is that he's apparently trying to get a reaction out of Ventus's body. And we do know that Ventus's body can react to certain situations. And let me explain. In Kingdom Hearts Dream Drop Distance, at the end, when Sora actually does wind up meeting all of the Dream Eaters that he met on his journey, of course, at the end, I said that already, but of course, Ventus actually does give a smile in Castle Oblivion. He's sleeping in the Chamber of Awakening, and of course, he gives off a smile. And this was 100% confirmed to be due to the fact that Sora was actually happy. And with that being the case, of course, Ventus gave off a smile as well. Now, whether or not this was his heart and stuff reacting and so his body reacted, who knows? But if Sora and the gang are not here to see this, then of course we can see a reflect barrier, which I mentioned I think earlier in the video. We can see a reflect barrier, and we see this reflect barrier has what appears to be these damaged parts. And I think these damaged parts are actually the light within Ventus's own body, because he was a pure being of light. I think this is the light within Ventus's own body actually trying to attack Vanitas and get him away from Aqua. I think that's pretty cool. I mean, I can't wait to see this whole scene in its entirety within the game itself. But let me know what you guys think about it. So, the two questions I have for you today. Do you think that there's two Vanitases? It's a potential possibility. It's a potential possibility because we do know that there's two different characterizations for Vanitas right now. There's one who's calling Ventus his brother, and then there's one where he's calling him an insignificant speck. That's so fucking different. Like, that's north and south. That's north and south, bro. Why is he an insignificant speck in one scene, and then in another, he's your brother? Another thing as well, of course, he's not wearing the black coat. This Vanitas isn't wearing the black coat. The other one actually is. So another thing too, I just thought about this. Maybe this isn't another Vanitas entirely, but maybe this is like mentally something that Ventus's body is going through, because we do know that your body and your brain and stuff is still together. So, you know, you do get to still hear stuff and experience stuff. So it wouldn't be that outlandish if this is nothing more than just, of course, a figment of Ventus's imagination. You see what I'm saying? Like, kind of like his body is essentially being like tormented by Vanitas, the thoughts of Vanitas and stuff. And that's probably why we see a scene that looks relatively similar to what we saw in Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep, in which Vanitas seems to be trying to strike Aqua down. But that's all the thoughts that I have. I went on in this video long enough. This has been your boy Amaziah. Don't forget to do a little A-class gaming, and everything you do, don't forget to keep it A-class, and I'll catch you guys within the next one. Peace the heck out.
What's left of me?